ただいま。ただいま。ちょっと待ってね。違う。今日、スタンリーの続きをやっていくんだけど、ちょっと待って、1分になるまで。ちょっと待って。もう1分だ !1 分でいいです。今日、スタンリーの続きをやっていくんだけど、待って。もうダメ、ちょっと待って。すべての出花をくじかれてるこいつらに。ちょっと待って。スタニーの続きをやっていくんだけど、前回やれなかったエンディングとか目標があるっていうことを言いたかったんだけど、すべての出花をくじかれてるから、ちょっと待ってね。待って、何？始める前にちょっと一言いいですか？いいですよ。何ですか？ゲームを起動した時に2回ともちゃんと時計を設定してくれてありがとうございます。いえ。そんな。全然俺はいつでも設定しますよ。何回だって。ほとんどの人はこのステップを真剣に捉えないんです。彼らはただ12時のままにして切り上げてしまうのです。まあそうね。でもあなたは実際に時計を合わせてくれましたし、私はそれに感謝しているんです。いやー、それほどでもないっすよ。それってあなたがこの体験を大切にしてちゃんと注意を払ってくれているってことだと思うんです。まあそうね。俺はずっとね、ウルトラデラックスになる前からスタンリーが好きだから、この体験は、このウルトラデラックスという体験はね、とても大事にしてるよ。あなたが合わせた時間が正しいかどうか知る術はないですけどね。そうだ、こうしましょうよ。何ですか？あなたは協力的ですし、どうせだったら次にこのゲームを起動してこの画面が表示されたら、あなたの一番好きな時間を設定してください。なるほどね。はい。いいよ。覚えてたらね。ちょっと、フォロワーも覚えといて。俺、好きな時間を次設定していいらしいから。ちょっと、そうしよう。どうぞセットしたい時間を好きに選んで。正しい時間でなくても構いません。あなたがちゃんと協力してくれたからです。オッケー。じゃあそろそろゲームに戻りましょう。オッケー。またな。後でな。なんだったんだこれ。始まる前に俺に困惑を与えないでほしいけど、いいですけどね。というわけでね、改めてスタンリー・パラベルウルトラデラックスやっていこうと思います。で、どうしようね。そのエンディングをさ、いくつか見たいのと、バカ長いエンディングが1個あるんだけど、そっちのルートに行かないエンディングがあるから、それはやりたいなって思ってるから、そこら辺やっていこうかなって思ってるんだよね。とりあえずね、やっていきます。今日も京都で指示中のガチ恋勢である俺は指示中と共に生きていきますよ。
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. スタンリーとなったので、相変わらずカメラ感度とかは別にいじってないので、行きたいと思います。これスタンリーのパソコンのパスワードが入れられるんだよね。だから、まあいいや、とりあえず行きましょう。とりあえず行って、どこのエンドから All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
あ、ここ机登れなかったっけ？俺絶対ここ登れたと思うんだよな。登れなかったっけ？絶対登れると思うんだよ俺。ここの机のどこかが。登れだってこの机は登れたわけじゃん。どの机だっけ？どっかの机は登れたわけじゃん。どこだ？でもこの部屋じゃない。この部屋じゃないから俺絶対ね、どっかね、登れる机があるはずなんだよなーって俺はずっと思っているので。あ、どうだっけ？机に登れるはずなんですよ。ニューコンテンツ。ちょっと机に登れるかだけさ、四苦八苦してきていい？絶対そうなんだよな。俺、登れた記憶がある。机の上っていうか、机の上に登れる？登りたい。俺は机に登りたい。机に登りたいって結構なあれだけどね。いやでもそうだよ。だってここも机の上に登れたわけだから、登れないわけがなくないか？こっから登るのか？登れたけど、こっからはいけない。登りたい！机に登りたい！ちょっと俺の悪あがきをしばしご覧ください。絶対登れるよね。どっかあったよね。絶対俺登れたと思うんだよ。俺の記憶違いじゃなければ、1個のエンディングが机を登らないとエンディングに行けないはずだから、登りたいんだよ。登りたいというか、登った後にこの白い窓の外に行けるのね。ちょっとごめん、今めっちゃ画面真っ白。行けるのよ。そのエンディングに行きたいんだけど、で、それがこのスタンリーの部屋を出てすぐの窓だったはずなんだけど、こんなに登れなかったっけ？椅子の向きがすげえ俺を邪魔してくるんだよね。で、しかもジャンプみたいなのできないよ、このスタンリーっていうゲーム。違ったっけか？絶対そうだと思ったんだけどな。あの時点で、俺がね、多分登ったのここなんだよ。419番。419番の机の上に登ろうみたいなことを指示中に言われて、ここだから登れるんだよね。これ多分登ってる状況なのよ。ちょっと段差、こう、わかる？こう。わかんねえな。まあいいわ。ほな、ちょっと一旦画面用意しそう。ちょっと悪あがきをやめます。で、ニューコンテンツに行かないで、なんだ。そう。一旦、
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
したら、前回、電話、このさ、指示中の声をガン無視
This
して
was
って
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to
で、そ
admire
こに
it.
電話線を引っこ抜いたんだけど、
Yes, truly a room worth admiring, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
ちょっと
left.
電話を取るエンディングにも行きましょう。で、その前に、
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't
柵が
5
何も
years
ない状
ago.
態で、ちょっと、Do not jump って言われてるんですけど、一個エンディングを回収したいと思います。いらっしゃい。ごめん。今からちょっと俺はここから飛び降りるので、苦手な人は見ないでね。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
はい。これが一応一個のエンディングなので、どうしてもね。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
俺いつもあれ
Stanley
怖い
decided
気
to
持
go
ち
to
に
the
なるんだよ
meeting
ね。
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
で、あのまんま 反発をしていき
When
ます。
Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
指示中セリフ急に変えんのやめてくれる
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
こっちにも入らないです。申し訳ない。申し訳ないですけれども。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
このまんまちょっと突っ込んで。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the
でも
wrong
俺が
foot
最終的
here.
に
I'm not your
やりたいって
enemy,
いうか
really.
行き
I'm
たい
not.
のが
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this
このリ
time.
フトが動いてる。
There's
その
someone
タイ
you've
ミン
been
グで飛び降り
neglecting,
る。このキャットウォークだし。
Someone you've forgotten about.
いけるのよ。
Please,
そこに行き
stop
たくて。
trying to make every decision by yourself.
なん
Now,
ですけど
I'm not asking for
簡
me.
単に回収できるエンデ
I'm
ィ
asking
ング
for
から
her.
どんどん回収していこうと思います。
This is it, Stanley.
この
Your
ハート
chance
って
to
いう
redeem yourself,
あ
to
の彼
put
女
your
の
work aside,
こと
to let her back into your life.
ちゃんと
She's been waiting.
ウェイティングしてくれてるので。よいしょ。
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
そう俺前回それで後ろにあるコンセント引っこ抜いたんですけど、今回はちゃんと出ます。指示中に踊らせられることにします。
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go.
あ、ちっちゃめかも。
All right,
OK
now,
ちょっと待ってね。
I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
俺これ最初に見たとき本当に怖かった。ちょっと待ってね。一瞬、音量をよいしょ。俺の声はね、基本的にね、通りにくいわけじゃないんだけど、どうこんぐらいでどうよ。どうすかこれで俺の声はどうすか。ちょっと指示中たちと比べてどうか。よいしょ。ごめんね。指示中が喋ってくんないと。妻怖いけど。
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
おはようございます。従業員番号427。G をキーボードで押せと。
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his
もともとスタンリー
existence.
のこの謎の仕事っていうのがさ、本当に分かんないわけじゃん。スタンリーの仕事ってこのボタンを何秒押すかっていう指示が来るからそれを押すみたいな。
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
怖いけどね、俺。H を押してください。どこが変わるっけ？こっちか。
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown. Fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
テレビを見るために R を押してください。テレビどこにあるんだよ。あ、ここか。
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
少年たちと過ごすために N を押してください。少年
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to
すごい皮肉
behold.
なんだよな、このエンディング。夕食の準備をするために L を押してください。
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
黄色のラインのエンディングっていうか、そのルートがね、俺がね、一番好きなル
It
ート
was
なの
such a
で。
wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
あなたの妻に愛を伝えるために J を押してください。妻、俺はお前のことが好きだよ。
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
寝るために Q を押してください。
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
押しちゃいけないのね。朝から出勤するために G をしてください。でもこれさ、押すしかなくないか。この時計の音だけが虚しく響く。
You see? Can you just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
何も質問しないために B をしてください。
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to.
ごめん、集中が。こんだけね。
I simply play to my intended
まあそうだよ。
purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see.
そうだよ、俺は今度こそ分かってくる。分かるよ。大丈夫。集中のことはちゃんと。
And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
本当に。このエンディング俺普通に怖いエンディングだと思ってるからね。スタンリーの数あるエンディングの中で俺一番恐怖を感じてるよ。あのエンディングが。俺が反発しすぎたからだね。
All of his co-workers were gone.
そして何事もなかったかのように。
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
そう、あともう一個。確か。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
もう一個簡単に回収できる謎のエンディングがあったはずだから一旦会議室に行って。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
よいしょ。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
はい、これはくるりとね引き返して出ていきましたっていう怖いよね。
There was nothing here, no choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
ここは本当にね
No
選
reason
択
to
するも
still
の
be
何もないん
here.
ですよ。ここにいる理由はないし何も触れないし なんですけど、ここに居続けると一生指示中が喋っ
It
て
was
くれるんで、
baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
と
He
りあえず
wasn't
指
even
示中
doing
に
anything. At
喋っ
least
て
if
も
there
らう
was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way.
あ、そうね。
As it is,
マ
he's
ジで本当
literally
に
just
立
standing
ってる
there
だけ
doing sweet
しばらく
AA.
静止画です。よろしくお願いします。俺と指示中の葛藤というかやりとりをどうぞご覧ください。
Are you really still in the broom
い
closet?
るよ。
Standing around doing nothing?
ごめん、この時にずっといるの。
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
ごめん。でも俺しばらくここにいるよ。本当にしばらくここにいる。結構長い間ここにいる
You
つもり
do
です。
realize there's no choice or anything in
わかって
here,
ます。
right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the
そう
broom
ね。
closet, at least you would have had a reason for
そ
exploring
う。
it to find out.
でも指示
But
は
it
何
didn't
も言わなかっ
occur
た。
to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story
そうだね。
whatsoever. I never would have thought to
そうだと
mention
思
it.
うよ。だって1回目は俺は素通りしたし、指示中も何も言わなかったもん。今回だって指示中は何も言わなかった。
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this
俺
concerning.
物系の嫌いじゃないよ。こういうなんかさ、ちょっとはっちゃけこう何
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid.
や
He
めろ
probably
急
only
に
got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he
急に俺を
is.
ディスるの
That
や
all
めて
with
くれよ。
drug money.
あ、そん
Also,
なことはしてない
Stanley's
よ。
addicted to
そんなこ
drugs
とは
and
してない。スタンリー
hookers.
はそんな子じゃない。指示中だって分かってるはず。いらっしゃい、見に来てくれてありがとう。ちょっとしばらく静止画みたいな感じですか
Well,
ら気
I've
にし
come
ない
to
で
a
くだ
very
さい。
definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead.
殺すな。
You got to this broom closet,
確かに
explored it a bit, and
こ
were
んだ
just
け
about
長
to
い
leave
間
because
物
there's
置で
nothing
ぼーっと
here
してるやつが
when
い
a
たら
physical melody of some
そうやって
sort
思うのも
shut
仕
down
方が
your
ない。
central nervous system
仕
and
方
you
がないとは思う
collapsed
よ。
on the keyboard.
キーボードの上
Well,
で
in
言
a
うな。
situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your
そう
body
ね
is taken。
俺
care of before it
ヘラ
begins
ちゃん
to
のことを心配してくれてあ
decompose.
りがとうね。
Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
やめろ、
They've
こっち側
fallen
に
prey
話し
to
かけ
any
てくん
number
だ。
of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their
俺
corpse from the area
俺のことを
and
さ、
instruct
こ
another
う
human
認
to
識し
take their
て
place,
死んでるん
making
だって
sure they
思うのおもろ
understand
すぎでしょこい
basic
つ。本当に好
first-person
きだよ俺こ
video
の
game
物置
mechanics
エンド。
and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on
めっ
them.
ちゃ喋る。
All
本当に
right.
指示め
When
ちゃ
you've
くちゃ
done
喋る。
that, just step out into the hallway.
今ね、死んだ俺は片付けてもらえたので、次の俺はね、ちゃんと廊下に出てくれるでしょう。指示中も、終わったら、大丈夫、終わったら、廊下に出てねって言ったし。ね、指示中。どうする指示中。2人目の俺も出ないよ。指示中。俺はこの物置にずっといるよ。正直このさ、ずっと物置にいるっていうエンドを考えてる時点でスタンリーやばいゲームだと思うんだよね。すげえ好きだけど、スタンリーのことは俺は大好きなので。指示中がこれ一回出るべきだったのかな。あ、そうか、一回出るか。一旦出てお帰りっ
Ah,
つって。
second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you.
まあさすがにしないっすよ、そんな俺の前みたいな。
You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the
や
controls
めろやめ
to.
ろやめろ。
A fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the
は
story
いはいはいはい
again.
はい。俺もまたちょっとしばらくこの物置にいますけど、指示中が俺のことを大事に思ってくれ、大事っていうかさ、俺のことをちゃんとねプレイヤーとして認めてくれてるのもわかる。2人目のプレイヤーって言ってくれたしね。でも俺は指示中の言葉が全部聞きたい。たとえ見ている人が何この動画って思ったとしても、俺は指示中と共に生きていく。だからしばらくここにいます。ただね、俺もね全てを覚えてるわけじゃないから、どんだけいたらどういう反応してくれたっけなみたいなのはちゃんと覚えてはいないんだよね。 外に出るタイミングとかはね一応あって、ただそういうのがないので一回出るか。あ、でもデータ取ってたからな。物置。これこんだけだっけな。いや、物置エンド一応わかんないです。あ、そうで、どうしようね。こっちの部屋に来ちゃったら俺は俺で、これはこれで俺やりたいエンドに行けなくなっちゃうんだよね。どうしようかな。とりあえず行くか。じゃあ。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
したらちょっと先にこの地下に行きましょうか。前回ボスのオフィスに行くっつって上の階に行ったんですけど、下の階はねまだ行ってないので地下に行こうと思います。先にね。怖いけどね。会社の地下これなの本当に嫌だけどね俺。怖いよ。これ無限エンドだっけ。
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical star field, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
このスタンリー・パラブルというゲーム、
I am
俺以上にこの指示中というかナレーターがめちゃくちゃ喋るので、俺はアパートに戻りたかっただけなのに。
Stanley began Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
そう、指示中がやたらに喋るので、ね、
This
静
is
かめ
the
に喋ってる
story
時
of a
は。
woman named Mariella.
なるほどね、OK。まあ、
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She
そこは
arose,
もう
got dressed, gathered her belongings,
あ、そう、
and
この
walked
マ
to
リエ
her
ラ、
place of work.
マリエラが
But on this
さ、
particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man.
男性が
He was
倒れてる
obviously
から
crazy. This much she knew.
どうして
Everyone knows what crazy people
っ
look
ていう
like.
のは
And
思っ
in
ちゃう
that
かもしれないよ
moment,
ね。
she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my
今回のス
mind.
タンリーは自分をコ
I
ントロー
know
ルで
what
きな
is
かったんで
real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this,
そう
and
そう
in
そう
a
で、その
certain
マリエ
way,
ラが、
seeing this man made her
前回
feel
の
better.
配信の時に
But
さ、
then she
メモ
remembered
リ
the
アルルー
meeting
ム
she
みたい
had
な
scheduled for
あった
that
じゃない。
day. The very
そこで男
important
性のフィ
people
ギュアみた
whose
いな
impressions
女の
of
人の
her
フィ
would
ギュアがあっ
affect
た
her
んだよ。
career, and by
それの片
extension,
方がマ
the
リエラ
rest
なん
of
だよ
her
ね。
life. She
逆に言
had
うと
no
その
time
二
for
人しか
this,
キャラ
so
クター
it
出
was
てこない。
only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
ティーンじゃねえのよ。本当に。はい。というわけで、前回が結局なんだ、どのエンディングやったんだ、引きこもりエンディングやって、でその後に正式違う、その後やったのが電話引っこ抜いたやつだから、あれ何エンディングだ、あれ崩壊エンディングいったのか。で正式なエンディングに行って新コンテンツやって、でエスケープやってのはずで、今回まあいくつかねエンディングを見たんですけど、で今回俺動画のタイトルにもさ、目標マイクラって書いてるじゃないですか。なのでちょっとマイクラをしに行きたいと思います。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
黄色いね LINE のエンディングがどうだったかあんまり覚えてない。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting
この
room,
ゲーム
and
本
Stanley
当に
knew
分
it
岐があり
perfectly
すぎ
well.
て、
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
ここ行ったっけ
The
な、
lounge
これ
was
やったっけなと
sublime,
か。
a work of
それ
art.
くさ
But eager to
あれ
get
か
back to business,
地下のさ
Stanley took the
恐るべき
first open door on his left.
恐るべき事実。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's
こ
incredible
れ
he
を上
wasn't
手にできるか
5
な。
years
ちょっと
ago.
上手にできなかったらごめん。
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
頑張りたいけど。
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm
得意
not.
じゃないんだよね。
I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you.
俺は今
all this
緊張の一瞬を。
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley.
あ、ちょっと待って、ずれた。
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his
すいま
death.
せん。
Good job,
急な
Stanley.
飛び降りをしてし
Everyone
まって
thinks
申し
you are
訳ないと
very
思ったの。
powerful.
心臓に悪かった方、申し訳ない。違うんです。俺はあそこのキャットウォークに行きたかっただけで。電話？これか？電話？どこだ？どの電話だ？電話？電話鳴ったのなんて初めてだぞ。どれだ？これか？電話？ どこ？みんなどこから電話鳴ってる？これ？電話？これか？これじゃないの？
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
ミルクとシリアルとスパゲッティを欲しがられたような気がする。俺はリスニングもできねえ。何？今の知らねえんだけど俺。普通に知らねえんだけど。何だったんだ？マジで。わかんねえな。まあいいでしょう。ちょっともう一回頑張って飛び降りたいわけじゃない。
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on
俺
his
はどうして
left.
も驚くとしたって、また指示中がちげえこと言ったような気がしたからです。
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
よし、頑張ろう。次こそ
Look,
俺は
Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot
頑張ろうね。
here.
よし。
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm
ま
not.
た
I
落
realize
ち
that
てしまったら
investing
申し
your
訳ないで
trust
す。
in someone else can be
俺は頑張るけ
difficult,
ど
but the fact is
頑
that
張
the
るけど
story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been
ここら
neglecting,
辺ここら
Stanley.
辺ここら辺
Someone
ここら
who
辺よし
Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you
Go
that
on.
convinced I
違う
want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
いいよいいよ。
Give me a chance.
じゃあ俺は別に指示中を敵だとは思ってないの。思ってないけど、俺はスタンリーではないから、やっぱ俺は俺のしたいように生きたいわけよ。ね。だからやっぱりちょっとスタンリーというゲームも好きなんだけれども、もっと素晴らしいゲームがあるように俺には思える。だからちょっといろいろやっていこうよ、指示中。ね。俺と一緒にいて。だって指示中は俺の味方なんでしょ。だとしたらちょっと一緒に遊ぼうよ。ね。
Now listen carefully, this is important.
はい。
Stanley walked through the red door.
オッケー。赤いドアね。分かってるよ、指示中。赤いドアでしょ。
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
赤いドアね。オッケーオッケーオッケー。赤いドアを通ります。
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
本当に好き。
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let
俺
me
は分かってる
stop
の。
you.
俺は分かってるのよ。
You see? There's nothing here.
なんも
I
ない。
haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place.
なんもない
Broken
や。
rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
いや、
Was
そういう
it
わけ
worth
じゃないよ。
ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
怒んないで。
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see.
無駄だったかな。
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and
俺
unknowable
は全て
desires
の
of
選択肢
yours.
っていうのを
What
見てい
would
きた
have
いだ
made
けな
this
のよ。
game better? What did you want to see?
違う。そういうわけじゃないの。
Vehicles?
俺は
Skill
こ
trees?
の
Work with me.
全て
You've
の
given
ゲ
me
ームの
absolutely nothing
全
so
てを知りたかった
far.
のよ。
Tell you what.
一緒に頑張
Let me
る？
take a stab in the dark at a new
あ、なるほ
design
ど
and
ね。
you can
新
give me
デザイ
some
ンに挑戦して
feedback.
みる。オッケー分かった。
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we
本当に？
were before. Go ahead, Stanley.
Okay.
Take it for a spin.
なんだよ、指示中。そういうことできんじゃん。ありがとう、指示中。楽しみ。ルンルン。
Okay, I'm going to
Okay.
stop you there.
Hi.
Now, tell me about your experience with this
わかった。
new version.
新バージョンね。
Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
なるほどね。まあ、真ん中ぐらい。
Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful.
ごめんね。
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Okay. 見よう見よう。はあ。The Stanley Parable どういうレコードなのよこれ。毎回思うけどすげえやってんじゃんスタンリー。なるほどね。で俺それね。なるほど。まあ確かにそんぐらいやってるかもしんないな。そんなにやってねえわ。よいしょ。そんなにやってねえと思うんだけどな。わかんない。よいしょ。
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on. And now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right. And if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Okay. これ今回は4時間やんないんですけど、これを4時間クリアすると実績解除になるエンディングがあるんですね。なので俺は4時間雑談枠があるって言ったのはこのゲームをやるためなんです。なので未来でこれはやるんですけど、ちょっと今回の赤ちゃんにはちょっと燃えていただきます。
You heartless bastard.
ごめん。
Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for you.
ゲームうるさい。そうだと思う。だから俺そこまでやったらもう。ごめん。違う。
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see.
なんかある？
What we have here?
そう、ゲームをまあちょっと下げて。
Yes. This seems like it
っていうのを
Let's give it a
BGM に
shot.
雑談をするつもりです。あ、何させてくれるかな？ワクワク。お、
Ah, fascinating. What do you think this game is
知らねえ
about?
ゲームになってる。
What's our backstory? What is our motivation?
嘘でしょ？
Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in
知らね
your
えゲームになってる。
perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
あ、
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total
なんですって？
mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
俺これ初めてだよ、指示中。前回はね、これで他のゲームなんかあるかなっつってマイクラに飛ばされたの。いいじゃん、指示中。新しいゲームじゃん。何これ。ちょっと元ネタ何か分かってねえけど。あ、そっから行くのね。オッケーオッケー。俺が回り道をしてしまった。これのゲームの元ネタ分かる人いる？前回はね、前回っていうかそのスタンリーパラベルウルトラデラックスになる前だからスタンリーパラベルの時はマイクラとポータルかなだったんだけど。
No, it can't be.
何？どうした？俺はもう未知だよ。何がダメなの？これ何のゲーム？
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it
オ
off.
ープンワールドなの。お前。
Thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call.
何のゲームなん
Really
だろう。
wandered off into that That thing, that big
どれだよ。
open, just wandering around, no right or
やめろ
wrong
やめろ。
directions,
そう
no
いう言い
path
方
to
をする
follow. You
の。
can just go in any. Oh, thank heavens we avoided it.
あそ
We're
こに
out of the
隙間ない
woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
あ、いけない。いけない。
Okay, I
何
think
次は
this
何のゲーム
will
さ
be
せてくれる
just
の？
the thing.
本当にこの元ネタ何なんだ？誰かわかるフォロワー？これも
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind.
何？何これ？
Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now
これは何？
this is game design.
わかんねえ。
Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
知らない。知らないゲームが2個も立て
Okay,
続
so
け
what
に。
exactly do we do here?
あ、そうだね。
There
何
are
をし
lots
たら
of
いいの？
cars here in the back, but obviously there's no
車があるけどサー
racetrack.
キット場でもない。
Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think
サッカーっ
surely
て
we
こと？
must.
これゴー
Okay,
ルなのか
Stanley,
な？
here's the ball. Have fun.
ゴールどこ？でけえな！指示中でかいよ。おおお楽しい楽しい。しかもスタンリー比
Are you
較
doing
的
it? Are you winning? Is this fun?
楽しい楽しい。
Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard
違
on?
う別に指示中のことそんな風に言ってない。
And I
違う
realize I'm not
指
a
示中
sportsologist,
別に
but
指
if
示
one
中が
ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure,
指示
then
中
surely
が
multiple balls makes for an
やってる
even
こと
more
が別に
euphoric
嫌いなわけ
sports
じゃないんだよ。
experience.
分かっ
I'm
て
going
そ
to
れ
try
は。
it out. Here comes another ball.
え、なになに？ああいっぱいある。
Yes. Oh goodness, that really does feel
もう
amazing,
元ネタ
doesn't
分
it?
かってるやつがい
Stanley,
る。
I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable.
楽しい。あ、言っちゃった。
More
楽しい。
balls.
おおこれ何のゲーム？これ本当に何のゲーム？うわうわこれ絶対途中から来た人俺がスタンリーやってるって思わないだ
Are
ろう
you
な。
enjoying this, Stanley?
楽しい。
Having fun? Is this a real video game? Well, I sure hope you're having
これ
a
も
good
しか
time
して
because guess
さ、
what?
そういうわ
It's
けでもないの
over.
か。
That's right.
何？
Your little fun comes to an end. This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I let you, Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are
まあ確か
nothing.
に
Yes,
ルールとかは
that's
ない
what
から
I
ね。
am.
ない
I
とね。
am structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving. See how you'd like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After
そん
all,
なに好きじゃ
you're
な
the
好
one
き
who
じゃないこ
knows
とはないと思う
best.
けどやっぱ指示中があって
Take care,
あ、
Stanley.
行かないで指示中指示中指示中悲しい。俺置いてかないで。え、マジでこのゲーム何なんだろう。前回のゲームもわかんないしさ、今回のゲームもわかんないんだよね。こっから行けるわけでもなく。指示中指示中いなくなっちゃった。指示中俺はなんかこのなんかよくわかんないサッカー場に取り残されてるよ。指示中悲しい。指示中がいなくなってしまった。このゲーム指示中がいなくなるとさ、途端に寂しいゲームになるんだよね。わかる？この虚しい無言空間。悲しいな。これどうしたらいいんだ？このゲームマジで強制終了みたいなしないと終わんないパターンがあるんだよね。これ指示中待っててもダメかな。もうグッバイって言われちゃったもんな。俺ずっとこのサッカーの かっこ仮みたいな世界に取り残されてるってことでよろしい？困っちゃうよそれ。一旦強制終了してみる？どうしようか。一旦して一旦するか。一旦指示中がいないゲームにちょっと意味はないので一旦ただいま。
All of his co-workers were gone.
おかえり指
What
示
could
中。
it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
俺のその当初の目標だったマイクラというゲームはなかったけれども、まあ似て
No matter how
似て
hard
非な
Stanley looked,
も
he
のはでき
couldn't
たの
find
で
a trace of his co-workers.
あと何だったんだろうね、さっきの電話。シュガーとシリアルとあくびです。持ってきてくれみたいな。ニューコンテンツいっちゃう？どうする？ニューコンテンツいっちゃおうか。ニューコンテンツさ、前回さ、もう分かんないまま言って、指示中の言葉通りに動いたわけじゃん。ほんで、何も、何ただただスキップボタンを押しまくり。
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
オッケー。指示中一緒に行こうね。俺あっちの部屋も気になるけど。行こうね、指示中。ルンルン。はあ、このトラックをもう一回見よう。そうなんか、もう割愛されるのかな？割愛されたな。悲しい。ちょっとトラックの内容が見たい人は、俺のスタンリーパラブル1回目を見てください。
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
指示中指示中違うじゃん。俺が1回目にやった、違う困惑しちゃった。俺が最初にさ、スタンリーパラブルのウルトラデラックスニューコンテンツに来た時はさ、ただただ虚無のジャンプをするだけの謎空間に連れてってくれる。そう。びっくりしちゃった。2だってみんな。
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
それは確かにそうだよ。インベストアショーケース。なるほど。ちょっと俺ニューコンテンツに入るたんびに動揺してる気がする。
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it mean?
やめろ自分たちでつ
But
け
the
たくせに。
Stanley Parable 2,
笑うのやめろ。
now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
すげえメモ貼ってある。どういう感じになるのこのオフィス。どういうストーリーなのこのウルトラデラックスじゃねえや2っていうのは。指示地教えて。どこに俺は行けばいいんだ。ああ、開いた。ありがとう。これ何？新しいオフィス？読めないけど。2ドア。まあそうね。 よいしょよいしょ。まあなんも読めない。ウィンウィン。こういうの英語が読めたらわかるんだろうな。ちょっと俺英語読めないんだよね。スタンリーパラブル2だよ。こんな嬉しいことある？いや、ウルトラデラックスも俺も嬉しかったよ。嬉しか
Now
っ
to
た
be
けれども。
clear,
はいは
I
い。
haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley
なるほどね。
Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing
オ
for
ッケーオッケー、わ
it.
かった。
I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of
なるほ
naturally
どね。
spring up
はいはいはいはい。
around them. It'll all work itself
なん
out.
だこの夢のやつ。
Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything
複雑。
scientific or
レッド
logical,
マーカー。
really.
ミー。ちょっとわかんねえな。まあでも指示中が2を用意してくれてるから This way to the show floor。 あ、はいはいはいはい。おお、はあ。指示中、俺これどこにどう行けばいいの？こっち行けばいいの？俺は一本道をとりあえず行くよ。指示中指示中どうしたらいいの？
Here we are.
はいはい。
Go on, try out some of the new features.
わかった。あ、このいくつかをやればいいってことね。わかんねえな。バケツ。バケツ？ちょっと待って、一旦ざっくり見ていこう。バケツとノースクリーンショット。あ、はいはい。あ、はいはい。安心のバケツ、オフィスデコレーション、無限の穴。はいはいはいはい。で、こっちはこのゲームをプレイしている人の名前を言う。あ、ごめん。言うボタン。ジャンプサークル出た。ジャンプサークルあんのか？ジャンプサークルはやんねえけど。ジャンプサークルはやったからね。はあ、なるほどね。一旦バケツから行くか。どういうゲームよ、本当にこれ。俺がすごい勢いで置いてかれてるけどね。よこいしょ。よこいしょ。これバケツ？安
A
心安
common
全なバケツ？
complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and
なるほ
paradoxical,
ど。
that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played
バケツないよ。
it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and
そんなこ
ease
と
will
ないけ
fill
ど
your
ね。バケ
mind
ツに
and
抱き
your
ついたことないけ
heart.
ど。
It's true.
あ、来
As
た
long as you
バケ
hold
ツ
on
だ
to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and
素晴ら
perhaps
しい。
even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your
なるほどね。
arms. And to be honest,
はいはいはいはい。
it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less
取っていいんですか、
uncomfortable.
バケツ。
Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect
ちょっとこ
solution.
の覆われてるんだけど。
Give
な
it
く
a
なるこれ。
try.
ああ、バケツが触れます。
Can you feel it?
バケツ
The
だ。
glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing
こんに
despair,
ちは。
must
ズーマさんい
already
らっ
be
しゃい。
sweeping
ち
through
ょ
your
っと今バケ
body.
ツを入
And
手
in
しました
fact,。can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit
バ
more
ケツを
attractive
入
as
手
a
したけどさ。
person. The benefits of the
なる
bucket
ほど
seem
ね。
to go
バケツ
on
の
and
恩恵
on,
ね。
don't they?
でもこれ
All
さ。
this and more await you in the Stanley Parable too.
バケツ持ったままなんかやるとかあんのかな。ここの部屋だとバケツしかないでしょ。じゃあバケツはもらったので、これ椅子しかないもんね。ちょっと画面暗くてごめんね。バケツを持った状態で他のとこ行ってみるか。もう素晴らしいバケツをねもらったんですよ。指示中に安心安全のバケツ。ちょっと自分の画面で。
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an
まあ
award
確
if
か
it
にね、
isn't
俺はバケツ
already.
が来たことで ハッピーになった。じゃあ一旦バケツを持った状態でジャンプサークルしてみるか。どうよそれ。画期的なんじゃないの？ジャンプサークルどこだ？無限の穴がこれじゃん。ジャンプサークルどこだ？ここが5番でしょ。ジャンプサークル。ちょっと待ってね。ジャンプサークルが5番。ここであんだな。どこでジャンプしたらいいの？ジャンプサークルがどこかわかんないんだけど、これ何？スタンリー？ジャンプサークルどこ行っちゃったの？ジャンプサークルどこ？違う、俺ジャンプサークルでジャンプしたいんだよ。ジャンプサークルこっちなの？どこ？こんなにジャンプサークルを求め、あったジャンプサークル！よし、ジャンプサークルに行きます。
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
ジャンプサークル使い切っちゃったからさ、あんまジャンプできないの？悲しいんだけど、指示長俺にジャンプさせてよ。バケツ持ってるからダメなのかな？悲しい。俺最初のジャンプ残しとけばよかった。全部素直にジャンプしちゃった。ジャンプしない以外の選択肢なかったけどね。でこれ何？フリー実績これか？フリー実績も見てみようか。怖いけどまた。
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that.
こんなので実績もらえるんですか
？Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
俺がまだ実績をするに値しないからってこと？実績欲しいよ。これなんか全部あれしないといけないのかな。このウルトラデラックスじゃねえ2の実績みたいなのをある程度解除したら、ここでガッションってするだけで実績解除されるとかなのかな。どうなんだろうね。楽しい。ちょっとこれ他の人たちがついてきてるかわかんないけど、俺は楽しいのでハッピーです。ちょっと実績難しかった。
What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
コレクターズアイテムとか見てないんじゃない？これか？これなんだ？これ何？本当にこれ何？
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
スタンリー怖いよなんだこれスタンリーを手に入れたな。
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
何だったんだ今のは。俺に誰か教えてくれよ。楽しいならよかった。いや楽しいよ。俺このゲームめちゃくちゃ好きで、ちょっとわけわかんないことばっかりしてるように見えると思うんですけど、実際わけわかんないことしてるんですけど、一旦出口行こうか。ニューコンテンツはさ。
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
いやわかんない。
Ready to move on now?
いやわかんないけど、とりあえず行こうよ。 きっとまたこのバケツどうすりゃいいの？楽しかった。ありがとう指示中。なんかめっちゃ赤くね。まあいいわ。ここ何？ここ何？
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
やっぱね、自分のその勘みたいなのって大事だと思うんだ。
Are you ready?
準備はいいよ。俺は見届ける。
I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
バケツどうしたらいいんだ。指示中？
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
Okay, 分かった。
Okay, yes.
はいはい。
Yes, this is
俺
much
やった
better.
も
I
ん
feel
ね。
good about
実
this.
績の
Here
や
we
つと
go.
ジャンプサークルのバケツだ
Version
ね。
2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it.
そうね、そうね。やりすぎない程度がいいと思う。
With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
やっぱ1っていうのが
Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, This is the Stanley Parable 2.
いいと思う、いいと思う。ちょっとやってみて、指示中。俺すげえ楽しみだよ。
Alright, perfect. Go ahead.
できた？
Take a look.
はい。はっはっ過呼吸いつまでも俺にこのゲームを終わらさせてくれない好きちょっと水飲んでいいああそうだよね。スタンリーパラベルはだって2が赤色だったもんね。やっぱ赤っていうのを基調にしていいじゃん。やればできんじゃん。指示中ちょっとゲーム始めてみようよ。楽しみ。ちょっと行きますね。どうなるんだろう。はい。
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
そうね、もともとあるものをね。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
もともとのザ・スタンリーっていうのを
427's job was
あ
simple.
りきで
He
作
sat
って
at
る
his
じゃん。
desk
いい
in
いい
room
すごくいいよ。
427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
ニューコン
Orders
テン
came
ツで
to
も
him
なく
through a monitor on his
今のはだって
desk,
スタンリー
telling
の
him
2
what
なんだもん
buttons to
ね。
push,
い
how
いぞ
long
いい
to
ぞ。
push
俺
them,
こういうの好き好
and
き
in what order.
ありありあり。
This is what employee
やっぱさ
427 did
こう
every
2が出た
day
時ってさ
of every
こ
month
う
of every year.
1とかけ
And
離れ
although
てたりする
others
と
might
さ
have considered it soul
若干のしょんぼり感はあ
Stanley
るじゃん。
relished every
で
moment
も
that the orders
1
came
あ
in.
りきだとか
Though he had been
そこの
made
1を
exactly
大事にし
for
て
this
リ
job.
スペクトをしてオマージュしてっていうの
Stanley
があった上での
was
2ってテンションも上がるもんじゃない？俺はそう思う。
And then one day, something very
わかんないけど
peculiar
ね、その
happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that
ど
not
うしよ
one single order had arrived on the
どうしよ
monitor
う、こ
for
んな
him
に
to
楽しくっ
follow.
て。
No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a
何度も
meeting,
聞いた
or even say
ナレーション
hi.
ですら。
Never in all his
嬉しい
years
ね。
at the company had
こうな
this
ると
happened.
違って聞こえる
This
ね。
complete isolation. Something was very clearly
はいはいはい
wrong.
はい。
Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
じゃあちょっと2を楽しんでいきましょうか。 どうなんだろうね。
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
何が変わっておるわけではないな。はいはい。バケツだ！
Stanley picked up the bucket.
バケツだ。ちょっと動揺してる。本当に動揺してる。
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
一旦指示中の言う通りに動こう。動揺がすごい。
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
なるほどね。やっぱバケツが一個あることで違ってくるね。よし。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
面白すぎるでしょ、バケツと一緒にいるの。バスルーム。よいしょよいしょ。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
どんだけ大事なんだバケツ。
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and
やっ
guiding
ぱ
light
人類には
pierce
バ
the
ケツが
dark
必
clouds
要
of
よ。
confusion
そういう
and
ことね。
chaos. It would be with him
これは
always.
大事なことを教わった
The
な。
bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad
そんなこと
behind
ある？
the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845.
でも俺はバケツがそれを教えてくれたと思うよ。
Stanley just sat around, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew
バ
all
ケツは
along?
分かってたんだ
Was
と
the
思う。
bucket
やっ
guiding
ぱ
him?
り
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
バケツが俺を導いてくれてるんだ。これでもバケツがあるだけで基本的なストーリーは変わってないの。そうバケツがあるってどういうことやねんって思うけどね、普通に。バケツがあるとないとでは違うぜっていうことを教えたいの俺。どういうゲームよ。ドキドキ
The
だよ。
elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an
俺にはバ
unknown
ケツがある。
fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together if not for the bucket,
どんだ
soothing
け、
him,
まあ、確かに
comforting
安心
him,
安全
reassuring
のバ
that
ケ
in
ツ
this
って言ってた
darkest
からね。
moment of uncertainty,
ありがとう
he
バケ
would
ツ。
be all right.
やっぱり君
The
を抱きし
bucket
め
is
てる
here
と
for you, Stanley.
違うな。
Everything will be fine.
ありがとう。怖いよ、そのパチンパチンっていうの。行こう、バケツ。僕を導いてくれ。
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
行こう。一旦言う通りにしよう。バケツとともに。バケツがいるからこそ俺はマインドコントロールも乗り越
The
えられる。
lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
すげえなこれ。バケツあるバージョンで全部読んだってこと？そうならんか。すごすぎんだとしたら。あれでも、あ、ここか。よいしょ。
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley
あ、やばい
nearly
やばい。
dropped the
バケ
bucket
ツは
in
大事に持っ
shock.
とかないと。
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it
大丈
that
夫。
everything
大
would
丈
be
夫だよ、バケ
fine.
ツ。よくなる。僕と一緒にいよう。 大丈夫だよ。どんなことがあっても僕は君を落とさないよ。バケツ。一緒にいようね。
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do?
そんなのは耐えらんない。
What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
大事なことだと思う。それはね、バケツであれなんであれ、やっぱり。
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
お前っていつもそうだよな、バケツ。でも、俺はお前のそういうとこ嫌いじゃないよ。お前とならできると思うんだ。どういうゲーム？本当にこれで合ってる？
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty. Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket. Needed the soothing warmth of the bucket.
やめてくれ。俺のバケツを奪わないでくれ。
Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Follow-up ついてきてる？俺はちょっと取り残されてる。いや、ちょっと2周目もバケツがあるのかどうかだけ。
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
ナレーション変えるのやめろって。あ、バケツいた。よかったバケツ。
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
バケツ。 だからなんやねん。はい。というわけでね、もう俺、なんやかんや、1時間以上やってるので、ちょっと、バケツとの再会も果たしたし、終わろうかと思ってるんですけど、未だに俺はスタンリーの全てを理解できないよ。いや、でも、今回確かに俺は、目標はマイクラだった。で、マイクラはなかったけれども、それに近しいことはできた。から、目標としては達成できたとしましょう。ね。それでいいと思うんだ。俺は。だから、ちょっと、まあ、ね。いろんなことを君たちは思うところがあるかもしれないけれども、次回もうバケツを持っていけるのかちょっとわかんないけど、やっていってでバケツとともにやっぱりこう2人の強いね固い友情っていうのを見せられるように模索をしたい。だしまだ俺やってない分岐がいっぱいあるからそれもやっていこう。スタンリーパラベルウルトラデラックスもちゃんとやってないし、スタンリーパラベル2もやってないから、いろいろやっていきますね。ちょっと戸惑いが強いけどさ、まあやっていきましょう。そういう感じでね。はいというわけで疲れちゃったなとりあえずね、今回は目標も達成できたので、また次回スタンリーの消費エネルギーが半端ないのよ。はい、というわけで
今日はありがとうね。
もし元ネタ分かった人は俺のそのアーカイブのねコメントとかに残して教えてくれると嬉しいです。というわけで、楽しかったお疲れ様でございました。よいしょ。
お疲れ様。じゃあな。ハム聞いてくれてありがとうね。ズームさんも聞いてくれてありがとうね。ムーンテーラーさんもありがとうね。
他にも来てくれてた人何人かいたの知ってるからありがとな。じゃあな。